Hello learners, once again welcome to my channel. Again I have come up with one of the important topic, that is behavioristic approach in curriculum. So before we start the video, press the bell icon, subscribe my channel. So let's start with the video. We will start with the origin and meaning of behaviorism. So behaviorism arose as a reaction against the various traditional approaches which involve structuralism and functionalism, because they have given importance to mental processes which involve moods, thoughts, feelings, etc. So these are all mental processes which are subjective in nature. So previous approaches or traditional approaches lacked the objective approach, but the credit goes to John Rhodes Watson, who was an American psychologist, and he have changed the method and subject of psychology by his revolutionary article, which is known as the Psychology Through the Eyes of Behaviorists, which was published in the year 1913. And he stated that it would be very unscientific for a psychologist to deal with the behavior which we can't see. Okay, because thoughts, feelings, conscious, these are the activities or actions, or we can say it's an mental processes. These are not actually activities and actions, because we cannot see these activities. So when we can't see this activity, we cannot measure or we can't do any kind of judgment. So behaviorism have came up with the idea, or they have described the behaviorism as a science of observable behavior, which involves those actions and activities which we can observe, we can do a judgment as well as measurement with those activities. See learners, these are the glimpse of certain activities which we can observe, measure as well as judge. Okay, so these activities can be termed as behaviorism, because here we do not see the concept of mental processes, so they are objective in nature. See, these are the phases of behaviorism. So we can divide those phases into three heads. So first one is the Watson's behaviorism. It was accepted till the year 1930, which actually takes place due to the result of conditioning to external stimuli, and they have totally rejected the mental activities like thought, moods, beliefs, etc., which are not visible. Next one is the new behaviorism, which accepted till the year 1960, and the main exponent are Skinner, Edward Tolman, Clark Hull, etc. And they said that psychology actually composed of studies about learning, and they have explained it with the principle of conditioning. Last one is the social behaviorism. From 1960 till present, we accept such approach where cognitive elements were added to behaviorism, which were actually, we do not find this cognitive element in the previous phases, and all the behaviorism can be explained in the basis of social situation. Okay, so Albert Bandura and Julian Rotter were the main exponent of such school. There are three kinds of behaviorism. So first one is the methodological behaviorism, second one is the psychological, and the third one is the analytical behaviorism. So methodological behaviorism claims that psychology should concern itself with the behavior of organism. It should not concern itself with mental states or event, or with constructing the internal information processing account of behavior. So Watson is the main exponent of methodological behaviorism, and he have conducted experiment. It's a very famous experiment, that is the Little Albert experiment. So we can see under the methodological behaviorism. Second one is the psychological behaviorism. It explains human and animal behavior in terms of external physical stimuli, learning histories and reinforcement. So main supporter of Pavlov, Thorndike, Skinner. So here the concept of reinforcement, then we can say learning histories are given more importance. And the last one is the analytical behaviorism, where behavioral activities are explained in terms of mental concepts. So concepts like thinking, belief, etc. will come under the analytical or logical behaviorism. So it is a condition, or it's an idea of behavioral disposition or family of behavioral tendencies evident in how a person behave in one situation rather than the another. After the preliminary concept about behaviorism, now we are coming to the meaning of curriculum. We are very much familiar with the term. So the term has been derived from the Latin word currier, which means a rest course. So it refers to the course of deeds and experiences through which children grow and mature in becoming adults. Okay, so it's a course of study that will enable the learner to acquire specific knowledge and skills. It can be also regarded as a roadmap or a guideline of any given discipline. So, by following those roadmap as well as the guideline, the child or the children will be able to acquire desired knowledge, skill, and attitude. So, it's a detailed plan for instruction. D.K. Wheeler have given a definition. It has been stated that curriculum as the planned experiences offered to the learner under the guidance of the school. Obviously, it's a plan because what kind of instruction, what kind of content, or what kind of learning experiences should be presented in front of a learner so that they get a meaningful experience or they can develop a meaningful experience. So that's why it's a planned experiences, and it should be taken place under the guidance of a school or a teacher. See the picture. In this picture we can see two elements. So one is the girl and the other one is the ladder. So in ladder we can see that certain things are written. So these are nothing. So each stairs in the ladder represent these stages of curriculum, and by following this curriculum the child will be able to acquire desired knowledge, skill and attitude. Okay. So in behavioristic approach these stages are being given importance and based on which the curriculum should be. Now we will come to its detailed explanation of each stages. So first one is the situational analysis, that means the present situation of the learner. So in present situation we need to see the readiness and activation of the learner, whether the learner is ready to acquire that knowledge, skill and attitude or not. So we have to make an analysis about that condition, like the age, gender, attitude, whether the learner is having that kind of capacity to acquire those kind of knowledge or not, whether his or her age is permitting or not. So we have to make this kind of analysis. So next one is the formulation of aims and objectives. So when we are formulating any aims and objectives, it must reflect the philosophy, social, economic and political basis of education through which we want to bring a desired modification changes within a learner. And here we will follow the process of conditioning, that is establishing a bond between stimulus and response. Okay, so that expected outcome can be stated in the behavioral term that should reflect all the taxonomy, which will include cognitive, affective and psychomotor. So third, we need to select a content. So based on the objectives we have framed, we have to select the subject matter in a planned manner so that they get a continuous experiences. So it must follow certain steps like principle of small steps, where bits of information will be presented in front of the learner, not the chunk of information, and it should proceed from simple to complex. Next, on the basis of content, we have to select certain strategies in what mode we want to teach a student. So here we actually transacting the curriculum to the learner. So here environment also plays an important role. That means the environment should be a noise free and it should have proper lighting and ventilation so that we can apply those strategies fruitfully and we get a desired result. So strategies may include the simple to complex audio-visual aids, drill method, illustration strategy, group activity. So we have to see the content. So on the basis of content, on the basis of age category of the student, we will select this strategy. Next we are coming to the reinforcement, though there are various kinds of reinforcement, but firstly we will apply the positive reinforcement. So positive reinforcement includes rewards, gift, praise, etc. Okay, so this kind of reinforcement actually strengthen the bond between stimulus and response, but if we see that again we are not getting a desirable result, the students have conducted or they have committed the same mistake over and over or again and again, Then we can use other kind of reinforcement, but first we will use the positive reinforcement. Next one is the evaluation. So this is very important step because here we apply both kind of procedure, that is formative and summative, to see whether the objective that was framed, okay, and that objective have been achieved or not. So by evaluation we can take a decision and make judgment about the curriculum, whether we should change the curriculum or the curriculum should retain. Okay, then we will also see the feedback system, feedback that we are getting from the students. So through this immediate feedback also we can make a decision and judgment about the curriculum. So outcome should be measured here against the predetermined goal. Last section we will discuss about the disadvantages. So behaviorism actually ignores the mental processes because they have given importance to the behavior which are objective nature, which we can observe, judge, as well as we can measure such kind of behavior. So mental processes are not given any place in the behaviorism. Next one is the less validity, though scientific in nature. So less validity because all the behavior or all the experiment they have done, so those experiments were first applied on the animals and then it was applied in the human being. So we can't say that every kind of behavior which is applicable for the animal, that same kind of behavior will be applicable for us. So that's why it's a less validity, though it's a scientific. Next, we can see that all behavior are learned. So, but there are certain behavior which are also acquired, but behaviorism have not given importance to the acquired behavior because they have given importance to the environment. So, in that environment, the behavior which we are learning, that is the most important. Next, to determinist in approach because free will is not given importance. Too much emphasis on the nurture, as I have said, they have given importance to the environment and not the heredity. So nurture is the heredity, and it does not consider the past experience or past knowledge of the learner. They have seen the learner in a stage where the new behavior should be adopted by the learner. So we need not need to see the past thing or past experiences. Okay, this is the ending section of my video. Hope that the video was useful to you. So please subscribe my channel, press the bell icon for the further notification, and please share with others because more you will share, the more experience you will gain. So thank you.